Let's do this thing.
All right.
Mayor's got a packed schedule.
You're good.
All right, let's call our resort tax meeting to order. We've got Brent online. You want to do a roll call, Judy?
Or
That's good. Or if you've got...
I can do that. Jeremy?
Here.
Tom?
Yep.
Joy?
Here.
Brent?
Here.
Okay. Chris? I don't have anybody else, right? Okay.
All right. Chris is not here, obviously. Review of minutes. Did everyone get those from Chris?
Yes.
Anybody have any comments? Entertain a motion to approve them.
Move to approve.
All right, it's been moved in seconds. Are all in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Any opposed? Brent, we're putting you down as in favor if we don't hear from you. All right. I'll do a quick update on resort tax expenditures. I did update the spreadsheet in the drive with the information from that Lonnie sent out. I think probably the biggest thing, let me just get it up here in front of me here, is that the income seemed a little bit, it's not opening, seemed a little bit high. I was at $915,000 in revenue, but I did not compare that to this time last year, so I don't have any reference for that. So total revenue right now, including 3% and 1%, plus $29,000 for pool and other income, is $1.262867. So it's $915,778 in the 3% resort tax fund. At least appears to me. I apologize that I didn't have the report that compares it to last year's numbers. And then expenditures, we're at $1,073,016 in expenditures. The biggest piece of that, as we talked about last time, is $523,000 for the jetter truck that the city bought. You know, like usual, most of our and then that actually includes the $305,000 allocated towards the storage sewer. The $1 million does. So almost all the other things are relatively not spent yet. The law enforcement, they spent $56,000. So, any questions on that? No. All right. Kelly's here, so we'll entertain her unless she just wants to listen to us. I assume you want to talk about tennis courts?
Yeah, just
Okay.
so kind of, I haven't been to a meeting, so just
All right.
wanted to support and kind of see how it's structured and see who was on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also to understand more about how we stay in the network to hopefully have the benefit of that for the club.
Great, super. Maybe what I will do. What we're working on primarily today is we're going to talk about a survey. And so budgets will happen a little bit more probably starting in February. So we keep ourselves updated in terms of what our income and expenditures are. And then we like to hear from community members about, you know, projects they would like and also projects that are working on. So we have put the tennis courts in as a future budget item for next year. So it would actually be helpful, maybe just a quick update from you from where you are in other funding sources as well. So we understand that would be great.
Yeah, you want to hear a little bit about that?
Yeah.
So, let's see, the MOU was approved as far as the project goes, and that's between the city and the committee that's been put together to fundraise. And then a future MOU has been pre-drafted, but nothing's solidified there, and that will be between the school, the city, and what's the third one?
Probably the tenant, well,
No, might just be the school and the
I
city.
think it's just the school and the
Just the
city.
school and city, I was thinking there was a third, but I don't think there will be the third. We'll back out of it as a committee, and then the school will take over maintenance of it, and then, of course, it'll be city's property. So we've had, fundraising is Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, that's $150,000, that's been submitted, done, sealed, everything they wanted, and that was pretty much pre-given to us as well, as far as like just, you already have been allotted the money as long as you don't fail these things, and we haven't failed any of those things. We have the geotechnical report that showed that the land was buildable, and so we have like 3 different versions of, do we excavate more, where do we put the excavation if we do it, so we have to go through that. So we're trying to find an engineer, what kind of engineer and how much engineering we need now. And the U.S. Tenants Association is helping us with that, because they just have been a part of so many projects that they won't do any of the engineering, that they will advise us on, that sounds good, or this has worked in the past, and they'll help guide us. And theirs is $140,000, $30-some thousand per court, so we've been sort of preset for that one as well. And
How many, are you 1 court or are you
4
4
courts.
courts? Oh,
4
so,
courts.
wow.
Yeah, that's about pretty much what it takes to run if we wanted to host a tournament here.
Uh-huh.
And as far as our team growing, we've been playing on 2 to 2.5. One of them's been black pavement for a while, and the sinkhole and all that kind of stuff that had a lot of water on it, and cracks and things like that. But 4 courts, you can expand your team and not be squished as far as like trying to do matches against in practice, because we've got about 14 kids out most of the time. So separating those even to doubles on courts, you leave some kids out.
Yeah.
That would be great, like basketball hoops inside of the stadium. In practice, they drop them all down, so you've got 8 nets, so you can actually go shoot free throws. That's kind of the same theory. And then we can actually bring 2 to 3 teams here, and we can host meets if we have 4 courts. 3 courts
Right.
are pretty tight. Somebody drives here, kids are sitting around too much.
Yep.
So 4 courts are ideal. So we did put in 2 and 2 courts with sort of maybe some fencing between them
And the U.S. Tennis Association grant is per court.
per court.
That's great.
Yep, $30-some thousand per court with
Okay.
a bunch of advisors, which is great. We
Okay.
talked to them quite a bit.
Okay.
So those 2 are pretty settled. We're putting in, and then the resort tax, we've put that in as our hopeful guideline. We did negotiate some great grant percentage and donation percentage through the foundation, so that's where all of our money's going through as far as the fundraising for it. So we've got some private funds that have come in, and we've got several other $10,000 to $20,000 donations that have been private, and $10,000 to $20,000 grants that we're writing for that we won't be able to access for a couple more months, but we're taking care of a bunch more of those as well. And then one more larger grant, for about $200,000 that we're working towards right now. That seems favorable, but
And what do you think your total cost is going to be?
$850.
Okay.
Yep, we put $750 to begin with, but now that we need to excavate or create more piers because of the coal slag that we're gonna build on,
Mm-hmm.
then we allotted a little bit more for that engineering and soil moving, depending on, but K2 is interested, and we'll put out other bids for other, because they're gonna be here working on the city streets, I believe. I don't wanna quote myself, but that's that, paving company out of Billings that I'm sure is either bidding or hopeful to have some of the infrastructure on, it sounds like curb and gutter in town.
Yep.
And so they are really interested in being involved, some donation and some at cost. And we
Oh.
haven't negotiated that yet as far
Great.
as earthwork.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Super.
so that's pretty close to where we're at. So now we're meeting every week virtually and every month in person. And it's a great group
Awesome.
of people.
Does anybody have any questions for Kelly?
Can you remind me where they're cited again? Is that gonna be up on the bench?
Recording in progress.
Okay, okay. Cool.
Sorry. I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, it'll be behind the baseball field. A little bit of a slope, so we'll have to do some water, filtering around, and maybe a little bit of retaining walls, like 4 courts. And then
Will you make me
we
a-
worked a lot with the, disc golf, because they put a brand new pad there.
Yeah.
So they're happy to pick it up, because they're all paving stones, and then they're gonna make a new hole to go around us. So
Okay.
that group between baseball, soccer, adult softball, and frisbee golf, we've been meeting and talking over the last couple of months, just to make sure that there's nobody being offended, and hopefully maybe creating some energy towards a coal miner park complex
Yeah, yeah.
that can have, you know, I mean, the parking lot is a whole other thing, but, you know,
I mean, that needs work regardless.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's gonna be some of the discussion tomorrow night too, with the pilot tourism grant, which the idea of trying to fix that, you know, having a vision for fixing the whole thing, so that we get a sledding hill.
Oh, yeah, it's letting help.
Do you have a question?
I had some input. We are actually currently working on, getting EDA approval to include paving it and the P around that, so that's gonna be part of the paving next year.
Paving and drainage
And then they're working on the drainage and leveling and stuff too, so that it finishes draining out to this, so.
Do we have a plan for that?
The engineer, Great West is working on it right now.
Okay, so we should probably look at that and provide some input, because that would be great. Because there's just probably some things that need to be in it to make it
In our
work.
group meeting, the school came to that Coal Miners Park meeting as well, John Fitzgerald did.
Yeah,
And he was talking about that pond towards the school that's supposed to be for theirs, and
Yeah.
how it's like, it's over capacity, it's becoming over, it's a small spot. And it was, I don't know what the whole explanation is, but he was talking about that being for a certain proportion of the parking lot, and now,
Yeah.
as it gets drained more and more,
It's
if
gonna be
it
bigger.
gets sculpted that way, it wasn't intended to hold that much
Gotcha.
water.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like, over the full length of that parking lot, there's like less than a foot difference in elevation, I think, is what they said. They were doing LiDAR and stuff on it so that they
Yeah,
can start to
okay.
get the plan.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we're super excited to just be a part
Yeah.
of all of that improvement to make that complex.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a game changer.
Right
I
up
mean,
there,
it'd be
it'll
huge.
be
That's
just growth
exciting.
sport for everybody.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the other ones in town for, you know, because we compete against people that come through and want to play. When we host a clinic, which we did a lot this last year, and then our practices where community managers can't use it during that period of time.
Mhm.
Or if we have tournaments, and then it's so great that we have another court or two
Yeah,
in the city still that people can play on. So, thanks for listening.
yeah.
Now-
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it is.
All right, I will just show. Breakfast? This is our 2025, budget, but right now, we, put in 200,000 for tennis courts in our 26 for next, you know, as a proposal money for next year. So the budget's not set, this is just in our thought process, so there's still some flexibility there, and some,
Nice.
so,
Brewery Hill, what's that?
That's the trail down
Oh,
Brewery
the
Hill.
trail, that's right.
that's,
It didn't happen.
that didn't happen, so,
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen yet,
yeah,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen with solely somebody else's money, so
yeah,
doesn't mean it's gone.
yeah,
Exciting.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, then there's, you know, and again, all that will probably move around a little bit based on some different priorities and what happens, so.
Yeah, and the pilot, yeah.
Yeah. And then, since I wasn't sharing this before, this is our updates on our,
You have it in there last year, so you can compare period over.
I don't have date timeframes, I just adjust this by, so the city does keep track of that, but that's not something that's sent to us directly, which we probably should.
I was just thinking
Fix
it was
that.
in your spreadsheet.
No, yeah, it's not in there, so. All right, any other questions for Kelly? All right. The next item is our, resort tax survey. And so Joy and I have, worked on that quite a little bit, and I will be honest, there was definitely in my mind, Joy was super helpful, but there was definitely, I'm struggling a little bit to understand what exactly we want, the information we want to capture, because that really affects how we ask the questions in the survey. You know, and we can ask lots of feel-good questions, but we need to, you know, I think we need to understand what we're asking, and I need this to work properly.
And I would say, just like the way that the questions are currently written, it feels like more like a gut check of where we think we should be spending our money in the future versus like any kind of agenda, but yeah, so I mean, and from that but yeah, definitely whatever our objective is and what we plan to do with the survey will drive how those questions are phrased.
And Jody, I think I felt like you had, from the council's perspective, some agenda in trying to determine some things
Yeah.
about, and so,
Primarily public health and safety, how much does the public really want, us to commit from resort tax to, help fund public health and safety, whether it's, the police or the fire department, moving forward. And not that necessarily we would change, to other than capital, but, just to get that, I guess, feeling from the public on how they feel about it. And then, also, workforce housing, because that was really at the very bottom of the list before, but that survey was taken before COVID. So
Okay.
has there been a shift in that feeling on using some of that resort tax to, help pay for some of that, if any projects come along, type of thing, capital projects? So, among other things, I think just to really see how the public sentiment has shifted on some of those. Number one, has it changed from 2019
yeah.
and where we're
it's
at?
a little challenging to ask questions in some respects in terms of wanting to know how we want to move the needle
Yeah.
without understanding, there's a lot to explain, I
Mhm.
think, is a little bit. And the reason I stopped sharing this is it did not want to seem to load. I don't know if it's an internet issue or something else that's going on here. What's that?
Did you upgrade to 26? It likes to lag every now and then.
Well, there was also a huge, like, outage on some cloud server today, too.
Again,
so,
yeah,
Oh,
like another
yeah.
half the internet was down.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just put it all on, just a couple big servers, and then, when it both go down, the whole world stops.
So please stand by while we're having technical difficulties.
Okay, that's such a simple protocol, but it's so problematic.
I'm getting 325 megaseconds, so it's not an internet issue.
I will say, like, the way that some of the questions are currently worded, like, there's the potential that everything comes in, like, oh, I love all of these things.
Right.
Yeah, that
And
was,
so if we really do try to want to gauge, like, do people think that we should spend it, in public health and safety, workforce, like, and try to rank it, then we might need to figure that out a little bit differently.
Well, didn't we think about, I missed one of the meetings, but wasn't there a draggable?
we thought about that, and Joy and I played with it,
Yeah.
and we had too many options.
And it's also
So
hard
if you find
it's
if you
on a
can,
mobile
if you can
device.
narrow it down to drag and drop over 5 things,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great, but if you want to have our list of stuff, and, you throw in everything from, bulletproof vests to tennis courts to affordable housing, all of a sudden, they're like having to scroll down, the list gets too long.
It wouldn't, yeah, it definitely wouldn't work like if someone's trying to do it on their phone.
Do you think we can categorize enough to get it down to 6%?
We thought about that too.
We tried.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Like public health and safety, parks, workforce housing,
Yeah, so,
Maybe, I don't know.
so then it becomes hard, so this is where we struggled. It becomes hard to get to that level of categorization without trying, so this is,
So you try to explain what parks include, and then all of a sudden, again, you give back a list of 5.
I had to disconnect to get the thing to work, I'm sorry. Yeah.
and then, of course, you have your, stormwater and your streets and roads, plowing, all of that. And those are our big,
I mean, I guess that's just a risk left to take.
I'm not
Yeah, I mean, we can put it out there and see.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's in good shape, and I think it accomplishes, again, if we want to try, but like I said, there's a few questions in there where we do run the risk that, if everybody selects, the same ranking for, it's like, oh, I like all of these things.
I know. And you're gonna have some people.
80% yay and 100% yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if this works. There's something in the screen sharing that is not letting it work. Let's just,
Would you have to have rights?
oh, no, I can share it with every, I mean,
No, if it's just sharing a link, will it work if I share it from a computer? I can think of some on your categories, pretty high level. Make my
Okay,
taxes
all right.
go up,
I got it to,
utility services.
yeah, I got it to work. Okay. So here is the basic thing. We can ask some questions about, if I make it bigger. We can ask demographic questions, or we could not. Again, some of this is how long you want the survey to be, but we did in the previous one. And our previous survey was pretty long, and people took it. So primary residence, do you own property? I'm just going to go through these quickly. All right. So then, do you believe the Resort Texas has a positive impact on the community over the past 5 years? So that's just a good general question. If you could use the Resort Tax funds to improve one thing or service in Red Lodge, what would it be?
I feel like that's one, that's.
This one is, I think, the money question for us, because it really forces people to think, to put their top thing, right? And then that gets you kind of to get a feel for that.
And if they drop out of the survey, we've still captured them.
Yeah, we'll put a,
No, that's great.
a thing in there that allows us to count anybody past that point. So then, this is the kind of the way we came up with asking this question. How would you prioritize use of resort tax funds for operating expenses for street maintenance and snow plowing?
I guess, Tom, sorry to have one question. This is Brent.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? On the
I can.
on the resort tax 5-year question, is there a reason why you say 5 years, like, versus just, do you believe the resort tax has had a positive impact on the community, like, and stop there versus saying over the past 5 years?
The only reason I put the past 5 years is because that's the time frame since we did the renewal.
Right.
And so it kind of narrows it down a little bit, just as opposed to saying overall. So it kind of like gives us a little bit of just, you know, what's happening more recently as opposed to just kind of open-ended. But that would be the only reason.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, some people won't know what it's done in the last 5 years, so they probably just won't even think about it, but sounds good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, we review every 5 years. So
Yeah.
that's good.
So, and you know, this is, Joy and I went back and forth on this, on how to ask the question, right? Like, you know, I think on one of our previous versions, we said, how do you feel about the use of resort tax funds for this, as opposed to prioritize, which, you know, you might feel great about something, but it might not be a priority for you.
And I think that'll help with people ranking everything the same number.
Yeah. So then,
Is it easy to go back and change your answer?
Yes.
If you're, okay.
yep, it is.
I'll be doing that.
Yeah, just, I don't know if you can see, but what I'm clicking on is this up and down arrow, but you can also just swipe. If you're doing it on a phone, it will swipe up and down with your finger. So it's pretty easy. So some of the question is, again, how would you prioritize use of resort tax funds for large capital items for public works, dump trucks, road graders, heavy equipment, snow plows? How would you prioritize use of resort tax for large capital improvements to park facilities? So this is one of the things that we talked about, like, do we try to narrow down ice skating, tennis, pickleball, baseball, bathrooms, etc., or do we just generalize that and then we're kind of left to prioritize those things?
I like keeping it general, because if we're not going to prioritize like every little item on everything, then that would just be
Too much.
And then we're leaving it up to what council and Parks Board are trying to put into place about deciding what those capital improvements are.
Yes.
And the one thing will come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you prioritize use of resort tax funds for park and trail improvements and maintenance? So this is capital and this is maintenance. Again, people may not really understand that difference so much. How would you prioritize the use of resort tax funds for capital items for police protection, police cars, rifles, bulletproof vests? How would you prioritize use of resort tax funds for fire protection, fire trucks, firefighter protective equipment? Streets and sidewalks, replacing or improving sidewalks, paving streets, making downtown. I'm gonna keep summarizing here. Downtown infrastructure improvements, making downtown more friendly for locals and visitors. All right. For the following question, we were trying to determine if we should expand the use of resort tax funds. Currently, operational costs such as salaries and supplies are only allowed for maintenance related to streets, alleys, trails, parks, recreational facilities, and city beautification expenditures. This is exactly out of the ordinance, by the way. Any expansion of the use of resort tax funds would limit the ability to make long-term capital improvements and would require a vote of the citizens. Okay? So knowing resort tax are limited, would you support a vote to expand the use of resort tax funds for any of the following? So workforce housing, police officer salary and operating expenses, city services such as clerks in City Hall, food bank, library. This list could be different. I know, Jody, you were interested in the workforce housing and the police and the City Hall. I don't know if we want to include food bank and library.
But we do want to include fire.
Fire's already allowed.
Could we put,
I mean, we could ask operational expenses for fire.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say operational expenses for public health and safety, you know.
I would
Want to
separate
separate?
those two because that seems to be a distinction, yes.
Tom, can you go back to the previous slide real quick? Sorry.
Yep, and then I'll go find back here. That help?
It's been okay to use for items for the police department, but not to retain them salary-wise.
That's correct. So we can buy them a police car, but we can't pay their salaries.
Yeah.
And
I guess
originally, hold
Sorry.
on one second, Brent. Originally, the
Yep.
resort tax could only be used for capital items.
Yeah.
We opened it up because folks were worried about if you made it for operational expenses, it would just get all eaten up in the operational expenses and never invest in the future. We then, the last piece there was a move to allow for some money for snow plowing and for park maintenance.
Yeah.
And so that got opened up into it. So the next question is do we want to continue to open that up to more operational things, or do we want to limit?
One thing that we've been asked from the city part was CART. Can we use resort tax
Okay.
to help
Yep.
fund CART? And I don't know if you want to make that a bigger thing rather than just CART, but transportation
I would
type
say city,
things.
car
City-
/ public city transportation?
community transportation.
Right, yeah, because you don't
Yep.
want to just make it CART, but yeah.
Is there
Someone make a note. Can I come back to Brent's question and then I'll get
Yeah,
back to
sure.
Brent?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand what city beautification expenditures means.
If I recall correctly, that is what it says in the ordinance, but we could narrow that down a little bit. We could try to clarify it, I guess.
It would be,
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry, someone. Go ahead, Jody.
no, that's okay. I don't know, like the flower
I
basket,
think that,
things like that.
Tree maintenance.
Yeah, I think it's trees, flower baskets,
Yeah,
yeah, that kind of stuff.
What I was thinking about, related to that question specifically, and that makes sense, would be like City Hall, any public buildings. If you were to improve the exterior of public buildings, does that somehow come with under an allowed operational cost?
Well, I think if it was really what you're asking is that's a capital expenditure, which would be
Right.
allowed legally.
Okay, that would be allowed
because
anyways.
yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to put flowers, that's an operational cost. But if you're wanting to spend $10,000 to repaint City Hall, that would be a capital improvement.
Okay, that one's already allowed as well.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
I think
Cart
we
was
could,
the one I lost at.
yeah, I think we
Okay.
could easily add fire and cart to this and not
Okay,
make this list.
And get rid of food bank and library? Or do you want to keep food bank and library?
Or do you, rather than food bank, maybe nonprofit?
Well,
Or
then
is
cart
that
would
too
fall
broad?
under that.
Yeah, no, that,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, no.
And I wonder if
totally
there
makes
is
sense.
a group like, non-governmental public services, parentheses, CART food bank.
We could look at doing it that way, but then we don't know if they want it for food.
So, I think the challenge, if you put food bank, it's very specific. If you put local nonprofits, that is
And it opens
That's
the
gonna get shot
floodgates.
down.
that's a huge can of worms. I think we have to say, so I think I would think about this. Is there something that we think is a need that resort tax could help with that is not currently allowed that we want to add into it?
That we want to present to the voters. to
Yeah,
get
that we believe strongly enough that we want the voters to at least give us, or we feel there's some pressure, you know, I think no surprise here that I'm not particularly in favor of, you know, I would not be in favor of workforce housing, resort tax money going into workforce housing. And, but if we feel like there's pressure to have that added, then we should ask the voters for it.
Well, and there's a difference though between the resort tax building workforce housing versus the resort tax, you know, helping.
It can already do water and sewer and streets and all that kind of stuff to make workforce housing less expensive. That's already an allowed expense.
Okay,
So the question is do you want to,
build workforce housing with it.
yeah,
Okay.
or pay rent for people? Or, I mean, that's what some folks are doing, right? Like you're basically, you're subsidizing their rent.
Are some of the other cities doing that, like Big Sky and
If you're
stuff?
building workforce housing and then you're giving them low rent, that's exactly what you're doing. Yep.
Right now, what's happening in our area is where that's being done, it's being done by the employers, whether it be Red Lodge
Yes.
Hospitality, IGA,
Mhm.
hospitals, you know, the people utilizing it, that's one of their business expenses.
So procedurally, I guess I have a question. If we were not to ask this question, it would be what, 15 years before we would come up to the sunset again for another vote, or what is the timeline of our current tax?
You'd ask for a vote here.
Yeah, so we can ask for a vote at any time, but it would not come for a renewal vote for another almost, I think it's 20 years, it's 25 years.
Yeah. it was
Okay.
25 that we-
Yeah,
So
I
it would
mean,
be another 20.
as a resort tax member, I think I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, my opinion is I think what we have is working. So my personal opinion is I'm not an advocate for going to the vote now. That said, obviously we're asking this question because the city wants some guidance on this. So I guess, you know, I can't speak for the library, but I generally know that the library has not tried to ask the resort tax for money. So I don't know that they would need to be on there if we needed to put someone else.
Okay.
But I'm
Yeah,
obviously not, I'm not speaking for the library, but that's just what I know. The rest of the things I'm not, I guess I have opinions, but they're probably not important.
Well, I don't know if food bank has ever come and asked either, have they?
I'm not aware of that.
Or just,
And that's why I think, and again, this is just a general feel, and that's why I think you might be able to lump some of those together and then do a follow-up on it if the answer, because to borrow Joy's phrase, what this is a gut check.
yeah,
And so if the
exactly.
gut check is, we don't think they're probably gonna wanna go for CART, food bank, whatever things can we lump in there, that if it comes back no and they're all in there, we don't have to test each one of those
Right.
hypotheses
That's
individually.
true. Yeah, definitely, okay.
I think CART should be in there specifically though, because they've
Mhm.
specifically been going for public funds and other regions publicly fund their CART programs. So I feel like that's something that we should.
And they specifically asked
At least
resort tax
forward.
funding,
Right.
and we were like, sorry, you know, it's not allowed right now, and,
I mean,
So would
I
like
guess
to-
I'd ask then why aren't we putting tennis courts on here?
We did under the capital.
We don't, yeah, we
Capital
don't,
park.
yeah, so that's part of that part, because it's already,
That's capital
this is,
again?
tennis courts are already an allowable expense. So this item is things that are currently not allowed.
Yeah, and
So
I
it just goes to your,
yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah.
if, I mean,
What
tennis,
happens if-
go ahead.
What happens if this is a fill-in-the-blank question, where you get open solicitation rather than doing it kind of like your first
We could.
question? If you were going to expand, what would you expand it to? I think that's a far better approach, actually.
We could, but I think we need to tell them that it requires a vote still, and are we prepared to facilitate the vote if everything comes back?
I'd
Yes.
be fine doing that as an additional question.
Yeah. I think we want to know specifically, because these questions have come up,
Yeah.
especially on workforce housing, the police department, and CART. Those three things have
So let's-
been asked.
let's just ask
Every
those
forecast.
three then. Let's not expand past that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Those three, okay.
Yep,
Yeah, so get rid of city services, food bank, and library.
yep, okay,
Put card in there.
I agree with that.
okay. And then here's your option.
But I borrow your wording from the previous, expand it to cover any other,
I don't think I would, I think that I think I would have to ask that open up. If they come in here and give that, they also have an opportunity to say, if you could expend resort tax on one thing, what would it be?
right.
And they put,
but the problem is you're coming up with your list, which was 5 and now 3. This is.
no, I'm
just
saying they
general-
could answer that in the first question of
Yes,
what
we
they
already
think is
asked.
most important.
And then we can go, oh, look, there's a bunch that
I-
want this thing that's not allowed.
I like the open and expand, because what you're probably gonna get is a splattering. But if you suddenly have a couple of hot spots on your heat map, then you go, oh, and now you know.
I still just think the first question gets that.
Yeah, I agree. Does anybody not agree with that?
I'm just running tests.
No, it's all right, you're up. We take your opinion, but,
The one with the 3 to add, I would also have an option for, no, I like it as it is.
yes, okay, yes,
That would be an
yeah.
category.
Well, all those, I mean, it says,
I guess that's implied.
it's
Yeah,
no and
no,
yes, right?
probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or leave as is.
Oh,
So
Don't
no,
expand.
no would be
Got
what
it.
you were looking
Yeah.
for.
Got it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I would say the way that it said, knowing resort tax funds are limited, that sounds like it's financially limited. And like you were saying before, it's hard to ask this question without explaining this whole thing. Like, I didn't know that there were certain categories that could or couldn't be used until
Yes.
right now.
Yep,
And that's just me not being engaged in conversation with people, only knowing so much about what this does.
yep.
But if there's a way that that could be reworded to say, funds are approved to be used on certain kinds of projects.
That's what this is. The following question, we are trying to determine, so this is where, we're trying to determine if we should expand the use of resort tax funds. Maybe it should say to projects that currently are not allowed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, currently operational costs such as salaries and supplies are only allowed for maintenance or like blah, blah. Any expenditure, the use of resort tax fund would be limited to the ability to make long-term capital improvements and would require a vote of the citizen.
And then reiterate that in your next question.
Yeah.
And I would reverse those two, so that vote was first and it's limited.
Okay? All right. Question about how we want to proceed with this. If we like those questions, what I can do is send this out to you guys all for a test, okay? So that you can have a little more time to think about it. I'll make the changes, and I promise Joy's gonna make sure I do that this week.
Okay.
And so we'll make these changes this week, and then send them out as a test. What do you think about, we kind of had said we wanted to avoid Christmas, but what do you think if we push this out? Or do you want to wait?
We could, I mean, if we sent it out this week, we could, as a group, test it within a week.
Yeah.
We could get it out right after Thanksgiving, and then we have 3 weeks before Christmas
Yeah.
to do it.
Yep.
That's fine.
Is the plan,
Yeah, go ahead.
is the plan for this to do some sort of a methodology that makes it a legitimate statistical survey, AKA,
Can't do
we're gonna randomly select
it. Can't do it. 300
people and send it to, or you're just gonna go, you're gonna knowingly skew it by who's paying attention to which post and getting that. Okay, it was just curiosity, because.
I mean, how else are we gonna do it?
Yeah.
List it in the paper, like, you know, get it out there.
Yeah, I think you resolve it with volume, not with it. This is not going to be a statistically accurate survey because you can't control who takes it and who doesn't.
Well, and if everybody who replies to it isn't a property owner or doesn't live in the county and they all say, yeah, let's vote to expand it,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean, people know, like, okay, we're not gonna vote to expand it, you know?
Right.
What mechanisms are in place to make sure that Joy doesn't take it 10 times? None?
You can pay a lot more money to try to do IP filtering and all kinds of stuff if you want to. Yes.
What is this costing us to do it with this mechanism, as you're talking right now?
Right now, I'm paying $99 a month for this program. It's costing you nothing.
How much
I don't know, the fire department used it. I have not asked for reimbursement on it. I may, but it's not costing the city anything.
so how much would it cost for an IP filter on it?
I could look.
Okay,
And see.
If it's like a one-shot
yeah.
thing, maybe that's worth it.
Yeah, if we do it, we can go up to the higher rate plan that gets the IP filter and some of that for a month, and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
$99 a month you're paying?
Yeah.
Is that just because of the time frame when you're setting it up?
Yeah.
Or do you run surveys monthly?
No, I set it up to do this primarily.
So
We did a
going back to your question,
we did a
do
fire
push it-
department.
Do we push it to July, to December? What you're really saying is, can we do this so I can be done paying for it?
That is a factor.
It's a little
I
bit
mean,
of
that's-
that, yeah.
that's-
But it also helps us inform our budget decisions going into.
Yes, yeah, so I think we want to get it done sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, yeah, because I think.
Personally, I wanted to get.
Yeah, and Tom, I was gonna say, I can go in and make some of these changes to the questions, or at least take a stab at it, and then you can look into the IP filter thing.
Okay, all right, sounds
And
good. Okay.
I would just like to add, even though it wasn't solicited, I would like to echo Tom's comment that I'm much happier with this than I feared I might be the first time I looked at it.
Yeah. I mean, and there are, like I said, there's lots of other detail things that we could do in smaller things, like, you could say, do you want to spend more money on tennis courts or cross-country fields, or, and you could have people but I think that that's kind of what we have to do within the community and other
Yeah.
places, and I think.
Exactly.
And if you're not gonna do that statistically, it has no use.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a gut check for you guys.
Yeah,
To make sure that you're going with the latest and best information you
Yeah.
have from the residents.
yeah.
This is Brent. I also agree with Dave, and that I appreciate all the work you guys did. I think it's a good, straightforward survey.
Yeah, super, because I know you were skeptical, so that's good.
You've won over another skeptic.
All right.
Yay.
And
Good
I
work.
would note that today, December
November
18th, Brent
November.
and Dave agreed.
Miracles happen. Thanksgiving miracle.
All right. Okay. Any other comments there? I think we're set to go. We'll get it out. If anybody, we'll just look to do it. And then I think I think probably couple of methods. We can obviously use some of the standard ones, but, probably the city sending it out in their Google group thing a couple times. I think we should say the survey is going to be open from this date to this date. We'll leave it 2 or 3 weeks. I think longer doesn't necessarily help you.
No.
More people answering it.
Does the city, or does the city have a booth or anything at Stroll? Or is there anything at Stroll where we could promote this with like a QR code or something?
You could. Courtney did that with Main Street. Was that last year or the year before?
Yeah.
Year before.
I think those are hard though, because what we're going to get then, I don't know that we want to get a lot of outside people.
Okay.
I think we're better off with
So you do it
some
on Friday,
Facebook.
not Saturday.
Facebook, yeah, which is local. I think if we do some Facebook posts, I think if we do,
Yeah.
a chamber newsletter, if we do Red Lodge, Red Lodge Buzz gets a lot of folks. And I think if we do the city's Google group, that gets a lot of,
Yeah.
and I
Well, and
think
then
that's.
Maybe at least like there's a chamber after hours that's at the Pollard, right? That would be within the
For
window.
Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
usually a good one in terms of business owners in the community to make sure they see it. Like,
Yeah.
that would be a good one with a little QR code
We-
potentially.
Yeah, and we can grab that group a lot with the chamber's mailing list. The chamber will send this out for us
Okay.
with their mail list. Yeah. So chamber mail list, city mail list, Facebook, I think that'll, and, you know, I think honestly, 2 weeks, maybe 3, I would just
Yeah, I
get that.
think we
Yeah.
start it December 1st and run it to like whatever that Friday is before the Christmas week. I think
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, and we found out last time we did this, if I remember correctly, that, like you say, the more people that took it, it didn't really affect
It didn't,
the
no,
results.
the longer it
Like,
waited.
once you hit a certain
Honestly,
amount.
we got statistically significant with like in the first 3 days.
That was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
yeah, it did not change much over time. Yep, okay. Do we have any other public comment or any other business? Wow, we are doing really well. We accomplished something we've been talking about for like a year,
Yeah.
and we are done in 45 minutes. Just a reminder that the Pilot Tourism Grant is having their public meeting tomorrow, 5:30, Roosevelt Center.
Dave, did you forward on those email messages?
I have not had a chance. I would not say that I have forwarded them all yet. I think
Okay.
you're on a lot of them that I'm on, just,
Okay.
they send them BCC, so it's not there, but, right, it's basically just getting feedback on that. A lot of folks are reaching out, and I've had phone calls.
To council.
Yeah, I know there is a coordinated plan to try and stop any improvements to the park. We get that, that's okay. I can share with you if you guys would like to see the photos. Maybe I'll do that after the meeting.
You're on again. Yeah.
Are we done with the meeting?
If you adjourn it,
Don't
I
look at
did.
me,
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Doing this for all of us.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.